Hey, good evening. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Superman team. It seems like a very grand, boastful title, but I think if you have been watching how they work, you probably will be tempted to agree with us that they do work that makes them deserve what that title conveys. They work super fast and super good, and with pure hearts of pure intent. When we formed the Superman team, we did the first house, and we realized, I went over to see, Beth and I talked about it and talked about what we wanted to do and what our mission would be. We kept looking around and seeing some of the houses that people lived in. And I thought that this was something that we could change. And at first, we called it as repair, our house repair project. But of course, it quickly became obvious that, in fact, it was much easier to be able to knock the old house down, get rid of a slum, and put up something modest that was new and secure and dry. We were amazed at how many houses don't have any walls. If you've been watching the video of House 42, you'll see that as I go into, with the camera, into what is obviously the kitchen, and there's that little tiny table, and behind the table is a wall that's actually not a wall. It's just like a curtain. It looks like it may have been a quilt at one time, and they've utilized it to cover that open to the open sky, and it's just not a wall. They've made it into something that stops your focus, and to that degree it's a wall. So what we decided was that we would make a new house, and we got money to help us to do that. And so our first job was for Desiree, and Desiree was a girl who was crippled. Inexplicably at the time, she was suddenly started to be unable to walk, and there's never enough money for people to go to a hospital. And yes, you can go to a public hospital, and if you can navigate and fight your way through that, because there are many people who are trying to do the same thing, and not everybody can do that. That became evident as one of Beth's skills, was to be able to navigate that system and get people surgery when they've been quoted some great deal of money in a private hospital. Beth was able to get them through that system in the public hospital because of her experience working in a hospital herself. She worked in the building department of, I think it was the Sacred Hearts in Cebu, and she had been working there for, I think, 7 or 8 years, and she was able to, and she is now able to navigate these systems and talk to the people that are there, that can make judgment calls on whether or how much someone should pay. So she's able to talk to them at the level that they all basically understand, which simple farm people are unable to do. So that became something that revealed itself as we went along. But the case of the girl Desiree, now she was married with a baby. It was a very hard and difficult case to look at. Now, just remember that we're not trained to handle cases which would be like a knife in the heart when you see them. We've learned as we've gone along. Our intention is to help, and whatever happens, that's what we do. So if we can't handle it ourselves, we get it handled, and that's what we do. But as far as the Superman team go, we formed it, and it became quickly clear that that was going to be the nucleus of the Superman team is the same. Two of the workers are Beth's brothers. There's Beanie, who is a very good carpenter, and there is Timeo. And Timeo also does carpentry, but mainly the brickwork and the rendering, which is and floors and stuff like that. So between them, they are able to handle the other workers. And right now we've got a really sorry, no play on words intended, but they do a great job. Now, they're getting faster at what they do. And so we've seen that we're only on day 4, but if you've looked at that video, I'm amazed. I'm a carpenter. I'm a furniture maker. I know what's right. Now, it's not always done how I would like it done, but the way that we have found it works best is if we go in, give them the materials that they ask for, talk about the basic design by waving our hands in the air. Well, we'd like it to go this way and that way, and then where do you think it should be? And we've allowed them to take ownership of what they do. So all kinds of small design things have come out, which has come out because we've allowed them to do what they do, and we validate them for that. Now, when they do research in big companies, they found that yes, bonuses work, and we do use bonuses as an encouragement because money is still very important, obviously. But the thing that people felt best about was when they received an award for good work. Now that may be as simple as something like McDonald's does, or as complicated. McDonald's, they send their employees to a professional photographer, and they have a really nice portrait done, and then they have it framed, and then they hang it on the wall in the McDonald's, and they put underneath is emblazoned underneath Employee of the Month, and people are recognized for their work. I've been video jacked. What are you doing? Oh, maybe I haven't been video jacked. Okay, you're a loss. Well, by doing this, and by validating, I make a point. If I see something when we go around to do our work in progress videos, if I see something that I think, wow, that's great, I go to the person who did that and I say, it's great, I love it, and I speak honestly, and I say what I've seen, and the person who has done that knows that they did it. They know that they did that little thing, and when it's recognized, boy, this is a wonderful thing. I feel good, they feel good, and the job as a whole for the present and the future advances. So that's the way that we work it. Now, I don't have my glasses on. I'm trying to have a look at how much time I have waffled away on this subject, and as I am prone to do, I think that by recognizing people for their work and allowing them to do their job, then the team become closer together. Now, very interesting thing, Mr. Ford, the American motor car maker, he brought out the idea of the assembly line. And on these assembly lines, where they now use lots of robots anyway, but when they first came out, the basic chassis of the car, in whatever form that it was placed onto the moving line, that's why they called it an assembly line, because the car went along, and what did it look like? Let's say that this is the car, and it starts here, and it goes along, and as it goes along at the pace that's just fast enough for someone to put 2 doors on, or 4 doors, and put bumpers on, glass in the window, it became a line, and one man did one job, which might involve putting 4 bolts into a hinge. And what they found was that this was a mind-numbing job to do. There is no sense of accomplishment putting 4 bolts into anything. And in places, I believe, like Sweden, where they make the Volvo, they had teams. So now, a team of people, and I think they still do this with some other cars, they still do this. There's one particular car company now that when the person orders a car, person orders their car, and here's the car, and it's stationary. And that car has a photograph of the person or the family that have ordered that car. And a team of people, somebody who's good at putting 4 bolts in, somebody who's good at putting bumpers in, somebody who's good at putting doors in. And they work together. Harry knows Jeff, knows Sid, knows Roy. And they work together, and 4 or 6 or however many people work together as a team of supermen. And that car goes out, and it's their car. And in some cases, the lady who has ordered that, the mother of the family who has ordered that car, can come and visit and see the car being built. And she meets the crew who are making that car, and the crew meet her. So there are no, Thursday or Friday cars, or Monday when everybody's got a hangover from a great weekend. Some cars on the assembly line have a day attached to them, which is usually not so good. But this case, everybody knows who the thing is for. It's very hard to botch a job when you know the family that you're making that vehicle for. Then you have a sense of ownership, a sense of pride, and it can't be thrown away, and it has to be acknowledged. So that's what we do with the Superman team, and when we feel that they've done an exceptional job, and it surprised us even. Beth is hard to surprise on this, because she'll go in after 3 days and say, okay, so we're finishing tomorrow, and everybody will go, get that woman away from us. But it's done with a smile. And if that case comes up where we go, wow, it's finished, this is incredible, and we will pay a bonus for that. If we think it will help, we'll say, listen, if we can finish this by Friday, then there'll be extra on the pay. We pay everybody by the day. Every day they get paid, or every other day if we can't get there. Tomorrow we'll be in Cebu, so we won't be able to get there tomorrow, but they'll be paid the next day. It works, and they're all okay with that. So the Superman team defined, and why are they called super? Because they are super diligent, super fast, super builders. Thanks for looking in. This is A Foreigner in the Philippines. Bye for now.